Pesachim Daf base. Today's email comes from Shlomi Rosenberg. He says, a long time ago in a small room, he started the Daf Yomi shir. After some time, it morphed into the Daf Yomi club. Now, I'm happy to report that you have a full-blown, non-stop, always ongoing 24 hours a day Daf Yomi party. Baruch Hashem, today, with all the channels and analysis, is way more than a 45-minute shir, and he goes on to say the different channels. Besides the excellent shir with charts, graphs, and life advice, you have fostered a worldwide family where no matter how we may physically be separated, we all feel so very close. We all care for each other, and that also makes us show up every day to do the Daf Yomi party. There you go, David Address. The hook for your next song. Show us your Daf Yomi party. Thank you for the daily dose of fun, learning, and growing. Yomi, sincerely, your unelected, unofficial ambassador of the Time Shifters, Shlomi Rosenberg. Thank you. So as we learned yesterday, the Mishnah tells us that if a person takes a carbon Pesach and flips it, tries to flip it on Shabbos, the Carbon Shlomo, he's chayiv chil Shabbos. And we must say that it's talking about a case of oiker. He uprooted it deliberately. If you go to the next case, the safe of the Mishnah, he takes a Carbon Shlomo and tries to make it a Carbon Pesach on Shabbos, he's chayiv. Over here, however, we must say that's not deliberate. It's Taya, he made a mistake. So Rebavo asked Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef, the Reish is talking about Oiker, the Seif is talking about Taya. He says, yes, he liked it a lot. He said, I want to remember this, and he repeated it himself 40 times. Reish Oiker, Seif B'Taya, Reish Oiker, Seif B'Taya, until it was Kemunach B'Kisei, as if it was in his pocket, he could grab it at any given time. Nevertheless, Rabbi Eliezer asks Rabbi Yeshua a question from the Reish, which is Oiker, to the Sefer, which is Taya. He says, if in a case where you take something that's a proper carbon Pesach, and you flip it into shlamim, you're chayav. So certainly if you start off on the wrong foot, you take a carbon that's not proper for today, shlamim, and you bring it and you want to make it a carbon Pesach, certainly you should be chayav. But one is oiker, one is taya. The answer is Rabbi Eliezer holds they're the same. But the person that he asked, Rabbi Yeshua, holds that they're very different. Nevertheless, Rabbi Yeshua tells him there's no right from the Reisha to the Seifa, because the Reisha, he had a bad intent. He took something that's proper and made it not proper. In the Seifa, he took something that's not proper and tried to make it proper. He tried to do something positive. No raya one from the other. In the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer tells Rabbi Yeshua, look, what about a case if a person takes a regular carbon, let's say shlamim, and tries to make it a carbon musaf on Shabbos? It's chayiv. So you see, if you shecht, even for something that's mutter to shecht, you want to make a carbon Shabbos, a musaf, you're still chayiv. Says Rabbi Yeshua, that's a case of only 4 korbanos on a Shabbos. Is 2 tamids, 2 musafim. How are you going to bring a raya from there to a case of carbon Pesach? Well, there's hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of korbanos, and a person finds a sheep running around, so he shechs him, he thinks it's a carbon Pesach. Of course, he's going to make a mistake. So what are you telling me? So if there's only 4, people don't make mistakes. But Rabbi Yeshua holds when it comes to 2 babies on Shabbos, and a person makes a mistake, he gives the milah to the wrong baby. According to Rabbi Yeshua, he's potter. Oh, but it's only 2. What's the case? You have a baby that's the milah is supposed to be on Sunday, and the other one is supposed to be on Shabbos. And he took the one from Sunday and he gave him a meal on Shabbos. According to everybody, he's chayav. Why? Because he did it one day early. There's 0 mitzvah in giving a bris milah early. But if you take a baby that the bris milah is supposed to be on Friday, and there's a baby that the bris milah is supposed to be on Shabbos, and you take the baby from Friday and you push it off to Shabbos, now you perform the mitzvah, it's not a mitzvah that pushes off Shabbos. So in that case, Rabbi Eliezer says you're chayav, Rabbi Yeshua says he's potter. But why is he potter? There's only 2 babies. He shouldn't make a mistake. Says Rabbi, it's because he took the Erev Shabbos baby, and he gave him a meal on Shabbos when there's still a Shabbos baby around. So there's a concept called Torah. He's busy with the Shabbos baby, and that causes him to make an error. But by Karbanos, we're talking about on Shabbos, the Karban Shabbos, he already shechted all 4 Karbanos, the Tamid and the Musaf, and now he has no business shechting another carbon. There's nothing to make a mistake with. He's not busy with anything. Remeir patters, even in a case where you shecht all the Karbanos, because it's a day that you push off Shabbos to make Karbanos, so he has a right to make that mistake. If you make a milah, you take the Sunday baby and you do the milah on Shabbos. According to Rameir, in Rabbi Yeshua, he's potter because he's busy with Shabbos. But what if he's not busy with Shabbos? He makes a complete switcheroo. In other words, he takes the Friday baby and gives him a milah on Shabbos. He takes the Shabbos baby, gives him a milah on Friday. He has no other baby that there's a real mitzvah here. The fact there's other babies in the world that are doing a bris milah today, that has nothing to do with him. So in terms of him, according to everybody, would be chayav. We explained the Mishnah that if you take a shlamim and you try to make it a carbon Pesach on Shabbos, you're chayav. There's a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, and we explain the machlokes, and who explains it? It's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon says that there is a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua in a case where the animal is a proper animal for carbon Pesach, such as a sheep and a goat. Rabbi Meir says, even if it's an animal that's not roy for carbon Pesach, you could still make a mistake. Why? Let's say you take an ox and you try to shecht it for carbon Pesach, because he's busy with being makriv the shlamim. So it's still considered a ta b'dvar mitzvah. Even in a case where you take chulin and you try to make it a Carbon Pesach on Shabbos, you're also, according to Rameir, you'd be potter. What about mum? What if you take an animal, it's missing a leg? In that case, even Rameir agrees that you are chayiv. He should have realized that it has a mum. It's not roy la krava, so he's not busy with it to bring it as a carbon, so you don't flip it, you don't exchange it with another carbon. Now, says Rish Lakish, what about a case? A person has a skewer of meat that's 100% usher to eat, midaraisa, it's nicer, and another skewer of meat that's 100% a mitzvah to eat, it's a carbon. And he mixes it up, and he eats the noisar. This is the raisa. He's chayiv according to everybody, says Rish Lakish. Why? Because he's not performing a mitzvah at all. There's zero mitzvah here. Says Rabbi Yochanan, in a case where a person is with his own wife who's a nida, but she's pregnant, and she's right next to her veset. There's no pruruvu, and there's no mitzvah aina. He is chayiv. But if you take the same case, but instead of his wife, it's a yavama, there's a mitzvah to be miyabim. In that case, if she's not pregnant, she might be samach leveses, he's potter. Why? Because the difference between a wife and a yavama is the wife, he could ask her, are you next to your veset? By yavama, he's too embarrassed. So therefore, he is potter. The question is, what does Rabbi Yochanan hold in a case of two skewers? So one lashon says, of course he holds your chayiv. He's not performing a mitzvah at all when he's eating the noisa. The other lashon is no, he's potter. Why? Because by a skewer, you can't ask a skewer, hey, are you treif? But by a woman, you could, and he should have asked. Where did Rabbi Yochanan get his halacha? That if he's boile yavama, who's a nida, he's potter. So the Gemara says we don't really have a source for it because it's not similar to the case of a lulav. In the time of Beis Hamikdash, you shake the lulav on Shabbos. What if a person forgot to bring his lulav erev Shabbos and he brought it on Shabbos? He's potter. Over here you have a case of tav bar mitzvah. Is it similar to Yavama? No. You know why? And the Gemara is going to use this for 4 different questions. By a lulav, maybe he's running out of time. That's why we're not mechayev him. What about Rabbi Shua? By us, you take a shlamim and you make it into Carbon Pesach. According to Rabbi Shua, you potter. Again, maybe because he's running out of time. The case of Mila, the babies, according to Rabbi Shua, if you give a Mila to the wrong baby, you're potter. Again, he's running out of time. But by Yavama, you're not running out of time. You have your entire life to be kind of the mitzvah. What about the case of Truma? A kohen is eating Truma, and he finds out that he's a challah. The halacha is typically you have to pay a keren and a chaimish. In this case, you don't have to pay the chaimish, you don't have to pay the penalty. Why? So the Gemara says no. Maybe he's talking about Erev Pesach, and the Truma that he's eating is chametz, and he's running out of time. Or you could say that any kind that eats Truma is considered that he's performing an avodah, just like he's performing an avodah on the Mizbeach, and he finds out that he's a challah. According to Rabbi Shua, all his korbanos are kosher. So to over here, it's an avodah. The Gemara tells us a story of Rabbi Tarfon. He didn't come to Bismedri from Gamaliel. Says, where were you? He says, I was performing an avodah. Avodah, there's no Beis Hamikdash today. He says, no, I was eating Truma. Have a wonderful day.